Now on Denver 7 News, the Broncos take a beat down in Buffalo, getting blown out in Game 2 of the NFL preseason.
It's hard to be able to stop them, right out the gate, so we got to be better there in the run game.
Our Denver 7 Sports team is breaking down the loss and how the team can bounce back for Week 3.
It means the world. It means the difference between being able to deal with all of it and not.
Plus, a former Bronco is helping Colorado kids coping with loss, how his nonprofit is giving them much-needed support while they grieve.
I'm hoping that people will actually understand that the ADA is a law for disabled people so that we can be treated like human beings.
And a popular Denver pedestrian bridge without running elevators at night. Why the owner says they are keeping them closed. Good evening and thanks for joining us for Denver 7 News at 5. I'm Bayan Wang. We start off with the Broncos' tough loss in Buffalo. All right, let's get right over to sports anchor Nick Rothschild. Nick, we just have to keep telling ourselves that it's only preseason and that it really doesn't matter. But even then, this one is still a tough loss to shake off.
True. Let's start with the truth about what happened in Buffalo, okay? The Broncos got their butts kicked. Whole game, 60 minutes, butt kicking. Now, whether or not that matters, Bayan, like you said, we can talk about that in a moment. But first, let's show you how it happened. Let's go inside the butt kicking. This was to be expected, okay? Josh Allen and Buffalo's first-team offense. Here we go. They ran through the backup Denver defense like a hot knife through air. Seriously. 6 plays, 70 yards, and this ridiculous dart from Josh Allen to Gabe Davis. Touchdown, and the Bills scored touchdowns on 6 straight possessions. The Broncos offense, well, they didn't really even get involved until the fourth quarter. Brett Rippon takes the field. He'd find Albert Okwuegbunam. Nice sleeping grab on the sideline. Then later, his fellow tight end would cap off the drive and essentially the game with a touchdown. Eric Saubert, tippy-toe touchdown. And that's all I got for you. Final score, 42-15, and a blunt Coach Nate Hackett after that debacle.
I have to see the tape first and foremost. Haven't gotten to talk to Ajero and those guys, but I felt like we were moving at the line of scrimmage. When you're getting movement on the line of scrimmage and those backs are not touched till later, it's hard to be able to stop them. Right out the gate. So we got to be better there in the run game. You get six touchdowns on 6 drives. Obviously nobody did good. So we have to evaluate the group as a whole, and we got to tackle better. We got to hold the point better. Everything.
Nobody did good. One thing was pretty clear as well, the Broncos, they have plenty of room to improve, and our Broncos insider Troy Rank is in Buffalo tonight, joining us now for a deeper look at what we can learn from the game.
Caught up with Coach Nathaniel Hackett before the game, just as he started his 25-minute running of the stadium stairs. And really, that was pretty much the best thing to happen to the Broncos. They got a workout in because they got absolutely boat raced by the Bills. At one point, the Bills scored 6 consecutive touchdowns. They did not punt until 8 minutes left in the game. Now listen, I know it's preseason, but there's some areas that need to be addressed. For the second straight week, the Broncos have been unable to run the ball. Under 2 yards a carry. For the second straight week, they've been unable to stop the run. That's got to change. So as we move forward, the important thing is the Broncos learn from this. Because listen, the Bills, they are the class of the AFC. So if the Broncos are going to pretend to be a contender, they have got to close the gap. And what showed here Saturday at Highmark Stadium is the Bills are the class of the AFC. The Broncos, they've got work to do. And that Seattle game's not that far off. Reporting for Denver 7, Troy Rank.
All right, thanks, Troy. One thing I do just want to kind of pump the brakes on again. This was Buffalo's number 1s versus Denver's backup. So the Bills should have always had the leg up on the Broncos. Does it feel good? No. But like Coach Hackett always says, it's never as good as you think and never as bad as you think either. Bayan?
Nick, as you said, it's only preseason. Thank goodness. All right. A former Bronco is hoping to help Coloradans coping with the loss of a loved one. Judys House, founded by Brian Greasy, is now expanding to a new location in Aurora. Denver 7's Christian Lopez shows us how the center is helping families heal.
She's always in the kitchen making weird stuff.
Trying out new recipes in the kitchen and taking silly photos, those are some of the most cherished memories London Essel has of his older sister, Adrian.
My daughter died from suicide in October of 2020. That was my oldest daughter. She was 16 at the time.
During that devastating time, the Essel family turned to the nonprofit Judys House for support.
When you lose somebody, like, oh, I can't even imagine that. I can't imagine that happening. And you never, sorry, imagine what's gonna happen. But, this is just a place that's here. It's, they're just sitting out here and they deal with it every day, and just brings you, they bring you in and you get to be around other people who've gone through the same thing as you.
Judys House was founded by former Broncos quarterback Brian Griese and his wife, named after his mother, Judy, who died from breast cancer when he was a child. Judys House CEO Jessica Maitland said the center also helped her and her kids after the loss of her husband.
I can say firsthand that the coping skills and support and resiliency and strategies for how to get through days that are incredibly hard, the things that we learned here sitting in rooms like this with other people who had similar experiences, made all the difference in the world to me and my family.
Families don't have to pay anything. London says it's comforting knowing he's not going through this alone.
I like meeting new kids and seeing how they get through the stuff and their grief.
Especially, I think, losing a child, what's going to happen, how it's going to affect your other child. How do I keep them safe, or, what do I do to help them when I can't help myself?
The Essel family says the support has meant everything to them.
It means the world. It means the difference between, being able to deal with all of it and not.
Reporting in Aurora, Christian Lopez, Denver 7.
So touching and such a great initiative. All right, now to a look at the radar. Take a look at that. We're keeping an eye on storms up in the high country and a few scattered showers here in the metro. Here tracking it all is Denver 7's Katie LaSalle. Hey, Katie, you've been busy.
Hey, Brian. Yes, it's a very active radar and satellite at this hour. We are seeing some stronger thunderstorms off to the west and light rain now moving into the metro. One storm producing some pockets of heavy rain. Currently abundant lightning near Erie, Lafayette, and to Broomfield. No severe warned storms right now, but definitely be prepared for some wet weather at least through this evening, and a strong thunderstorm just east of Netherland. Gusty winds up to 30 miles per hour possible. Brief pockets of moderate to heavy rainfall. It's all because of the monsoon moisture streaming into the state, combined with the cold front and a series of weak disturbances, and that'll last all weekend long here across Colorado. We will see gradual clearing over the Front Range and Plains for tonight, then more wet weather on the way for tomorrow. We saw our highs top out in the upper 70s to low 80s, so much cooler than average, and as you can see, as we start our Sunday, we'll be dry across the eastern plains. More storms in the mountains, and once again for the I-25 corridor. I'll take you through the full forecast when 90s return to Denver coming up.
All right, Katie, we'll check back in with you shortly here. As Colorado's fentanyl crisis is getting even worse, multiple events are going on this weekend hoping to spread awareness about the negative impacts of the drug. Denver 7's Colette Bordelon has more.
Next to a packed Boulder farmers market,
it does bring out a lot of people,
is a booth handing out what you might not expect.
Do you know what Narcan is? This is the reversal to an opioid overdose, so fentanyl is included in that.
Trina Fates is helping raise awareness about illicit fentanyl, a synthetic opioid being found in all kinds of drugs, while handing out more than 800 free kits of naloxone, a nasal spray to anyone who wants it.
Absolutely. It's not easy for people to walk into a pharmacy, and oftentimes they're questioned by the pharmacist, or they are embarrassed, or they don't want to ask for it.
The booth in Boulder isn't the only group fighting against fentanyl on the Front Range this weekend.
She was stolen from me.
Michika Duff got on a plane for the first time in her life, coming to Denver from North Carolina to share her daughter's story at Denver Fentanyl Prevention and Awareness Day on Sunday at the state capitol.
She was 23 and she did not want to die. She wanted to live. She has a 5-year-old little girl that's turned 6 in 3 days.
Duff says her daughter thought she was doing cocaine.
We heard of drug overdose, but this fentanyl was something new that came in and took us by a storm.
And coming to terms with what took her daughter away has been one of the hardest parts of her grief.
I just said she was murdered by fentanyl. It was the hardest thing in my life. I wanted to say she had a stroke, she had a heart attack or something, because that was embarrassing.
Since her daughter passed, Duff has seen a lack of diversity in the people speaking out about fentanyl.
This thing is not about black or white. It's about taking back our humanity. It's about saving our kids. We won't have no future if this war take over.
Urging everyone to come and stand with her in honor of those no longer with us.
You know that child died of drugs. Say it. Save the next child.
Leading the charge with her daughter, always in her heart. Colette Bordelon, Denver 7.
Duff will be one of the speakers at Denver's Fentanyl Prevention and Awareness Day tomorrow. It's part of a national event happening in nearly 30 states. The Denver event will take place across the street from the Colorado State Capitol from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Everyone is certainly welcome. Denver police are investigating after 3 people were shot overnight. It happened around midnight near 14th and Uinta, just south of Colfax. Police say none of the injuries are life-threatening and no arrests have been made. Boulder police are still searching for a man who sexually assaulted a woman at a CU Boulder dorm. Police say on Wednesday night, the suspect knocked on a student's door at the Williams Village North dorm. When the student answered, the man grabbed her by the neck before sexually assaulting her. We talked with several students who say they're horrified by what happened.
It was really scary, especially because that's so close to our building, and since we're not on main campus, it's like really scary that he was able to just kind of be away from the mainstream of it and do it here.
It's just really upsetting. I want to feel safe here. I really love the campus here.
Police describe the suspect as a white, college-aged male with dirty blonde hair who is approximately 6 feet tall. Anyone with information is asked to call the police. Starting tomorrow, RTD will make some changes to more than 24 bus routes. You can find the entire list of all of the affected routes on RTD's website. It's part of the agency's normal scheduled changes, which happen 3 times per year to address ridership changes. RTD will also instate some school tripper service routes to help students get to and from CU Boulder for the beginning of the school year. A Denver woman is fighting to get the elevators running 24/7 at a pedestrian bridge near Denver's Union Station. Right now, the company who owns them only allows elevators to operate during the day. Denver 7's Amy Wada sat down with the former Olympian who explains why this puts the burden on her and other people in wheelchairs.
Denver native and former Olympian Amy Van Dyken is fighting to get the elevators running on the 18th Union Gateway pedestrian bridge. She says they shut down every night, which means people like herself can't use it since she's in a wheelchair. I spoke with her today about her concerns. She lives in Judys House, which is right next to the bridge. She says the bridge is the only way she can get to Union Station easily. But now that the elevators aren't working at night after an evening out with friends, she either has to call a cab or go under the 20th Street Bridge, which she feels isn't safe.
If I have to go to 20th Street, it can be 30 to 45 minutes.
Really? And if it's winter and it's cold and...
It's miserable. Because think about it, right? I can't really wear gloves because I use my wheelchair. So my hands are freezing.
Van Dyken says she reached out to 68 West, which is the company, according to its website, that led to the bridge design, coordinated permitting for the project and negotiations since it crosses over the railways. She got this response and posted it to Twitter. The message says, in part, the schedule to have the elevators shut down at night was instituted about a year ago for safety and hygiene purposes in response to significant concerns raised by and on behalf of the residents of the adjacent buildings and general population of Riverfront Park. The decision was made after discussions at the district board meeting with our security staff, engineering, and management consultants. The purpose of the closures was to stop obscene behavior and crime from happening in the elevators during the overnight hours. In the message, 68 West told Van Dyken they understand the inconvenience and assured her of other routes she can take. Van Dyken says she feels their reasoning puts the burden on her shoulders and violates ADA law.
I'm hoping that people will actually understand that the ADA is a law for disabled people so that we can be treated like human beings just like everybody else.
We also talked to a woman pushing her baby in a stroller who says she's noticed the elevators not working from time to time and said it's an inconvenience for her too. Van Dyken says she just wants the issue addressed so she and other people like herself don't feel like they are being singled out. The City and County of Denver says the Central Platte Valley Metropolitan District operates and maintains this bridge and its elevators. They wanted to say they'll be looking into this further, and we'll let you know when we learn more. In the studio, Amy Wattis, Denver 7.
All right, Amy, thank you so much. Coming up, the U.S. is sending more help to Ukraine. Hear about the nearly $1 billion package, including the brand new technology on the way to the front lines. Plus, Colorado ski season is coming up quick, how one of the state's most popular resorts is getting ready for it.